Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to talk about the latest procurement of Hellenic Armed Forces regarding helicopters. Today we have the pleasure to have with us Mr. Hamid Salim. He's the Vice President of Sikorsky's Army and Air Force Systems for Lockheed Martin. Thank you for being here with us today, Mr. Salim.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to discuss actually about a helicopter that is, in my opinion, the definition of the tactical helicopter of the West, the last 30 years, 40 years or more, which is the Black Hawk. Give us a short brief for the total program since its beginning, because many people think, okay, it's a program, it's a tactical helicopter, but I think it's much more than just the image or just what we are thinking of. So give us a short brief regarding numbers, users, different variants. It is very interesting. Please do.
Sure. So first, thank you, Yanis, for the opportunity to participate in today's podcast. I've seen a couple of them before. I'm really impressed with the work that you do. And I'd like to share up front that I actually visited Greece last year, and I want to thank the Greek people and government for their confidence and trust that they placed in Lockheed Martin and Sikorsky. You know, when I visited there at the time, I was the vice president of our maritime systems business. So I delivered the Seahawk helicopter. And I just am very thankful for the hospitality that the team showed me there. I actually got to meet your Prime Minister, Mr. Mitsotakis, and he flew in the Seahawk that day. So it was probably a highlight of my career to have the opportunity to not only host the Prime Minister, but have him fly in our product. And then today, I'm here as the Vice President of the Army and Air Force Systems. So I lead the team that delivers the Black Hawk program for Sikorsky, and I'm actually proud to represent our 10,000 employees with you today. So specific to your question, the UH-60M, as we refer to it, or the Black Hawk, is a very versatile, rugged, and reliable helicopter that's ready for the toughest mission challenges that you can throw its way. It's a combat-proven workhorse for the U.S. Army and many of our allied militaries around the world. It's currently serving in 36 nations. And so it may look similar to previous Black Hawks that you've seen, but our team is consistently innovating. And so today's Black Hawk, you know, offers a lot of improvements that prior Black Hawks don't have. And so it has, for example, an advanced autopilot and modernized glass cockpit. Those are just two of many capabilities that we'll talk about today in our session, and basically the best in industry equipment that enables a variety of missions. The modern Black Hawk is built on the hard-earned lessons from the toughest missions in the history of vertical lift. It's got a constant stream of improvements that have been made. It's over 50 years old, believe it or not, to make it tougher, safer, and faster. A few examples of the Black Hawk, just to give you some perspective, are the enhanced lift and range. So there were structural designs and system improvements that we put in the 60M that increased its lift capability and extended its operational range. The advanced rotor system, where we have wide chord blades and all composite main rotor blades, improving our aerodynamic efficiency and performance. Upgraded engines, we installed 2,000 shaft horsepower GE Electric GE 701D engines actually. And so we can deliver enhanced power compared to the earlier models. Digital avionics suite, where, you know, we have a 4-screen glass cockpit display and digital connectivity, which allows us to reduce the pilot workload and enhance situational awareness. Improve flight controls, a digital automatic flight control system that allows better flying qualities and handling characteristics. So when we think about maneuverability, it's really important there. And then obviously enhanced durability, new machined aero structures and systems that contribute to improved readiness and improved performance while having reduced operating costs. And so thinking about that, this is a program where Greece has procured 35 units that'll be delivered in country. And I can tell you that having had the pleasure to visit Greece in the past and visit our customers in Europe, I'm really hearing that helicopters are an essential part of their military operations, not only for today, but in the case of the U.S. Army for the next 50 years. And I'm sure the same is true, for armies around the world. This helicopter, it offers unmatched versatility, reach, and access across varying terrains and a wide array of missions, from air assault to frontline resupply, border enforcement, drug interdiction nowadays, and even humanitarian relief efforts.
Well, these specs you mentioned are quite fascinating. One question that many people would like to know is whether the Greek variant is going to be actually the same like the US one. And the second one is what's included in the Greek program, because there are several opinions that say, okay, some things are included, some not, but would you like an insight regarding, for example, if weapons are included, if probably a wing-like weapon support system like the famous ESSS or CLO, which is newer, and of course I'm referring because if I am correct, 4 of the helicopters will be the Special Forces variant. Am I right?
Giannis, I can say this. I'm so proud to be able to help grow the Hawk fleet in Greece on the Seahawks that we've already delivered in other Lockheed Martin platforms. And specific to your question, we work very closely internal within Lockheed Martin to have a one Lockheed approach. And before I hit the specifics that you ask, I just want to share, we've got a very long-standing partnership with Greece, which spans decades. The 60 Mike will actually join the upgraded fleet of F-16Vs and other existing F-16s, the Seahawks that I mentioned, the S-70B Seahawks that we've delivered, as well as, C-130s that are already there, and hopefully in the future, the F-35. And this enhanced fleet will provide Greece with extended capabilities for air, land, and sea operations that can contribute to the nation's security for years to come. Specific to the Blackhawks, that's a government-to-government contract that was awarded in October 2024, and it included a contract to deliver 35 UH-60M Blackhawk specific for Greece, and they are the same capability that the U.S. government utilizes. The deal to support the Hellenic Army includes aircraft as well as personnel training equipment, and the initial provisioning package, which significantly improves self-defense and bolster the ability to operate or have interoperability with both Greece and other NATO allies. While I can't comment specifically on the equipment, the helicopters are absolutely versatile, as you mentioned earlier, and will be used in a variety of military missions with the allies, special operations, border patrol, security missions, search and rescue, firefighting with Bambi buckets, and even long-range assault. Specific to how the Greek government intends to use that aircraft, I certainly have to defer to them for the specifics on how they want to use those specific aircraft and what weapon systems they'd like to put on board. But rest assured, the aircraft is very versatile and more than capable of doing those things that you mentioned.
Well, as you probably already know, we try to increase the work that the Hellenic defense industry produces. Hellenic defense industry is cooperating already with Lockheed Martin in several programs. So
Yes,
I would like to ask, is there any part of the Hellenic industry involved somehow or will be involved somehow in the Black Hawk Mike program? And a second question on that is somehow connected. We are expecting also for the Hellenic Air Force to take a decision regarding 15 helicopters for search and rescue or combat search and rescue. If the Hellenic Air Force also decides to buy Black Hawk, will this increase any potential in the Hellenic defense industry involvement in the program?
Well, it's a very good question, and I want to first talk about the contract for the helicopters themselves. So it's a foreign military sale helicopter contract. You'll hear this called FMS, and it's a transaction between the government of Greece and the U.S. government. So really, the guidance for how the program will evolve is a function of the two governments working together. In our experience with Blackhawks, each customer has specific needs. And our goal is to work together with the Hellenic Army and the U.S. Army to understand those needs and address them accordingly. We have had other FMS programs in Greece, like the Romeo and the S-70B for the Hellenic Navy. And both of these sustainment programs have significant Greek local content, thanks to the establishment of a local MRO supporting, directly more than 60 high-skilled technician jobs. Now, I will tell you, I personally have come to country and had the opportunity to go and see some of the MRO capability in country. I have to tell you, Giannis, there is fantastic capability in Greece. I met Mr. Demetrius Daphnis, and I visited Aero Services in Greece. He has an incredible facility, and he provided me with a tour. And I would honestly tell you that their facility and capabilities are among the best that I've seen worldwide. Our current focus is on the engagement with local industry to make sure we assess those capabilities and ensure that we have the basis for long-term support of the fleet. We know that the long-term maintenance and support and potential for component repair to support maintenance are very key elements of the Hellenic Army's fleet availability needs in their future. So we stand ready to partner with the Hellenic Army and support the sustainment activity of our Greek partners. Now, you ask a question about additional aircraft. I might ask you to repeat that if you don't mind.
Yes. There is also a potential program regarding search and rescue, combat search and rescue helicopters for the Hellenic Air Force.
Right.
The need is for 15 additional units. Hellenic Air Force hasn't decided yet which helicopter is suitable for its needs, but it might do that in the near future. So, if Hellenic Air Force also decides to procure the Mike variant, will there be any additional work for the Hellenic industry? For example, produce of some components like we do for the C-130?
Well, it's just natural that if you have more aircraft, you're going to have a need for more capability and support. So coming back to your question, I think there are significant benefits. First, a combat search and rescue variant for the Hellenic Air Force would provide benefits such as survivability, stealth, weaponry, and interoperability across the services. I'll just note that the Black Hawk is a true multi-mission platform that's used by a variety of customers worldwide to support these search and recovery missions. And the mission equipment is actually based on the unique needs of the customer. So in some ways, it's customized for those users. The configurations usually include electro-optic infrared sensors, so we call those EOIR sensors, a hoist, medical litters, and color radar. The Black Hawk is designed for modularity, and that equipment has been added to the Black Hawk throughout the history of the aircraft. So I see no issue there. Just consider for a moment the trust that the U.S. Army National Guard and the U.S. Coast Guard and other U.S. and international agencies put on this aircraft. It's the preeminent search and rescue helicopter in today's world. And I think that if you had more variants of the Hawk in country, there certainly would be opportunities to expand the offerings that the Greek the Greek industry provides in country, not only for the sustainment, but perhaps other aspects of the program.
Well, some countries, in order to reduce costs, decide to buy helicopters, let's say, kind of militarized. I mean, civil variants with enhanced capabilities regarding military specs. Can you give us a short brief? How is a full military spec helicopter different than a militarized one?
I really appreciate this question. I get this from time to time in different countries when I visit. And I would just start by saying the Black Hawk's definitely not a commercial helicopter that's been painted green. A lot of people think that that is the case. This aircraft was actually designed for the mission that it supports. It was built from the ground up to support the exact demands of our frontline users, so it can fly in high and hot environments, so that it can land in really tight spaces and on ships, so that it can protect the crews from enemy fire and withstand the punishment of real-world operational missions. Our competitors along the way have presented similar platforms that look as versatile and easy to maintain, but they're actually not built to suit these missions and to meet the needs of the Hellenic government. The Black Hawk has the flexibility to conduct a variety of missions at greater ranges and in the most challenging environments, increasing survivability and operational relevance. And as the U.S. Army embarks on its modernization program for the Black Hawk, FMS customers are actually going to be the beneficiary of its capability, enabling the overall effectiveness. And I project that'll go out for the next 50 years. So as technology rapidly advances and the security environment becomes more complex, the Black Hawk is the one platform that's ready to accept those new technological challenges and capabilities that will make a big difference on the battlefield.
Well, I have to ask you this because, military capabilities of the Black Hawk are very famous. So could you share with us a significant story, of course, except the one, the famous one from the movies, but a lot of great audience would like to know something, for example, significant, that's kind of a milestone for the helicopter's career?
Yeah, no, thanks for the question. And I think there are many, many milestones, and I appreciate your question. First, let me say, when I look at this aircraft and what's so special about it, I think there are three key pillars, and I want you to know those as I set the scene for my answers to your questions. The first is survivability. When people get in this aircraft, they come home, okay? The second is sustainability. At its price point and operating cost, there's nothing in the world that matches it. And then finally, affordability. Because of the way the Army and industry have worked together to design this product, it is the most affordable for what it does in the world. And we've heard that from multiple customers time and time again. I'll set the scene by sharing, when our customers talk to me and tell me about significant events, they tell me that on the worst day of their life, in the worst moment, when they hear the rotor blades of our helicopter, they actually know everything is going to be okay. I can point out two very recent examples that are very meaningful for me. One is how we use Firehawks. You've seen in public media what's going on in California, and you've seen the tragic loss and the fires that have happened there. And I've actually heard from firefighters on the ground who were fighting the fire real time and losing ground on the fire at the top of a mountain when suddenly a Firehawk flew in and dropped in a precision load of water directly at the point of the flame and the fire to quench it and save lives and property and extinguish that fire. There are great pilots who put their lives in harm's way on a daily basis, and it's really a testament to the bond between our pilots and the mission and the product that enables this aircraft's success. And as you know, this is one of the many missions and examples that are extensible to Greece itself, because when I visited there last year, there was a lot of discussion about fires in Greece and the ability to put those fires out. I also think about during natural disasters, and I know you asked a question specifically, to a wartime example, but let me just share this first. When I think about, we had a disaster, a storm, Helene, and it's broadly publicized. I had the privilege of going to the state of North Carolina last year to meet the pilots and crews in a celebration in front of their families because they used the Black Hawk helicopter to save 800 lives during that natural disaster and storm in North Carolina. People were rescued from their rooftops. People were rescued from cars, that were stuck and where bridges and roads had washed away. And it was amazing to see how those operators sprung into action in the state of North Carolina and saved lives. And frankly, we don't celebrate this enough, but Sikorsky products have saved over 2 million lives. And just last year alone, 6,000 lives were saved using our products. And I think that's an incredible example of the mission. And what I can share with you just to go beyond that, maybe just one more simple example, if I could. I have met pilots and operators who flew combat missions in Iraq and Afghanistan. And they tell me frequently that they didn't even know that they had taken on battle damage until they landed and they realized that there were bullet holes in their helicopter, or actually in their blades, and the helicopter performed flawlessly and saved their life. So I think these are three different exemplars of just how amazing this product operates. And the Black Hawk is so versatile that our customers use it in both combat scenarios as well as humanitarian responses. So I think all of that is applicable, for Greece and what the Hellenic forces want to do in country.
Yeah, well, I'm quite impressed with the number you said. Nobody had ever thought about it, that it's actually the Black Hawk has saved 2 million lives. Well, the number is enormous, and of course beyond imagination. We're not talking about furniture, we're talking about people.
Sikorsky has saved 2 million lives from its product, and just last year 6,000 were saved inside the company across all our products. But yes, the Black Hawk has been around for 50 years, and I can tell you, I have seen an amazing number of lives saved, and actually witnessed the employees, the spouses of the pilots and the crews participate in our ceremonies to recognize the number of lives saved.
In any case, it's a fantastic number, and of course beyond imagination. Well, two more questions.
Sure.
I'll start with a hard one, because you see, Greece came in a situation to decide to buy Black Hawk after 20 years since we decided for another helicopter. 20 years ago, we had decided to buy the NH-90 helicopter, where also Black Hawk participated in that contest. 20 years after, we decided to buy Black Hawk. Give us a comment on that.
Sure. So, look, I can't speak specifically to the NH-90, but here's what I do want you to take away, and relative to your question. The reputation and the history of the Black Hawk speaks for itself with its unmatched capabilities. I mean, it's born for the toughest missions in the world, and it frankly dominates in the area of safety, survivability, maneuverability, sustainability, and availability. The Sikorsky Black Hawk, we've built and delivered more than 5,000 of those, and we're serving 36 nations worldwide. Greece is one of those nations. And together, they've racked up more than 15 million flight hours, including 5 million in combat operations. And that's all thanks to a proven design and continuously improving the technology on board that keeps this a venerable asset and aircraft at the forefront of the fight. The Black Hawk has a readiness rate of 92% as a result of the Army's approach on sustainment efforts. And at Sikorsky, we work closely with our customers to ensure that there's a focus on long-term availability and affordability of the fleet within, their acquisition phase and the sustainment of the life of the product. So I think what you're seeing, to really get at, the question that you ask, is look at the metrics in the data. I mean, it's a safe helicopter, extremely survivable, very affordable. The price point, it's just amazing what it can do at that price point. The Army's investment to sustain the fleet and to put new technologies on board for the next 50 years, that means that not one single country works alone with a unique product. And when you amortize that across a huge fleet like we have, it's going to be an affordable product that's going to be ready. I mean, 92% readiness rate. I think that is best in class, and that, hopefully helps answer your question. And I really love the question. Thank you.
Totally answers that. And the easy question, well, we've seen the Greek audience, the Greek fans of the Hellenic forces, armed forces, had the chance to see Black Hawk during the DEFEA, their National Defense Exhibition in 2023. Should we expect also to see the Black Hawk in DEFEA 2025?
I can't speak to that. I'll have to follow up with you. I would certainly hope so, but I'll have to circle back with you on that. what I would like to do is just make a comment, if I could, on how we're working with the Army to modernize the fleet. Because I think when you look at this aircraft fleet of 35, there are some things that are going to come in the future that I think the Hellenic government is going to benefit from. So if I could make a comment on that, I'd really appreciate that. So the Black Hawk is obviously the world's best multi-role, multi-mission helicopter. It's going to fill the skies for the next half century. And as I mentioned, Sikorsky's partnering with the Army to innovate and modernize so that the Black Hawk of tomorrow is actually better than the Black Hawk of today. And so that we can support 21st century security capability that makes sure that fleets around the globe are actually ahead of ready. So they're modernized, they're capable, and they're ready before they have to embark on a mission. That means that we have to provide platforms that can be quickly updated, that are interoperable, and that are networked for the new standard to make sure that we have connected protection. The Army has repeatedly said that they intend to operate the Black Hawk through 2070 and beyond with the integration of a new engine that's coming in the next decade, and they've targeted modernization activities for other capabilities on board. As the security environment continues to get more complex and threats evolve, new technologies introduce themselves, and the Black Hawk modernization approach includes three major pillars that I want to make sure, Giannis, you and the Hellenic customers are tracking. The first one is increased performance through the new ITEP engine. ITEP is improved turbine engine that we're installing, working with the Army and GE to put the 901 engine in. And then the second pillar is modular open system architecture, which will drive the integration so that customers can make updates to their missions on the fly. And then finally, launched effects. There's really not a better platform to integrate and launch new effects on the battlefield en masse. And that's a development activity that FMS customers are going to enjoy for many years to come. Another example of upgrading and modernizing the Black Hawk is autonomy. We continue to demonstrate these future capabilities with the U.S. government that can help make our pilots even more effective and safer, allowing them to focus on the things that matter most during a mission so that they can leverage the capabilities on board and focus on what's important to them. For example, through autonomy, they can use an intelligent co-pilot if needed. Ultimately, we look forward to continuing to work with our customers around the globe to ensure that the fleet's ready to meet all the future mission needs. And I'll certainly check on having the Black Hawk prominently displayed in the show that you mentioned. And I appreciate the opportunity to be with you here today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I asked that for the fair because you see, the pilots that were flying Black Hawk shared some info that were quite impressive regarding from the use in the battlefield and the MRO during fighting. For example, I've heard that there is a kit that can change a Black Hawk engine in just 30 minutes. That was when I heard that I said, no way this can be done. But of course, they said it can. And actually, they also mentioned the new engines that are, I think they are 50% more horsepower than the previous ones.
I think it's 25% more horsepower,
25.
50%, more capability in terms of performance and benefit as a result of how the engine performs. So, we'll see that as we get through the testing activities on the aircraft that's underway now.
Great. Thank you so much for the info you shared with us, Mr. Salim. Hope to see you in the fair. It would be a pleasure, of course, to see this fantastic helicopter because, we are anxious to use it. But till then, okay, let's get a glimpse, at least in the exhibition. So, ladies and gentlemen, we had with us today Mr. Hamid Salim, Vice President of Sikorsky's Army and Air Force Systems for Lockheed Martin. Thank you so much again for being here with us.
Giannis, thank you so much for your time, and Yasu to the people of Greece. I really appreciate the opportunity. Have a wonderful day.